guys, to Fire Your Boss Fridays.
The blanks are fun in the title. I like it.
Do you like the logo?
It's pretty good.
It spawned a little magic in us too. When we did it, we're like, I like the way this looks. I like the games it plays in my mind. So to each his own in what you see in that blank area there. So but yeah, Fire Your Boss, all about entrepreneurship, all about taking the leap and challenges. We're here today to find ways to inspire people to take that leap, but also for those who may not be fit for the practice, they can run. So it's not for everyone, as you guys know, and there's lots of stuff to cover. And in our last 5 episodes, we've had some really cool guests. We're super stoked to have you guys. Why? Because I remember the moment you guys had the turning point. So that's really, really exciting for me to explore. Did you introduce them? No, we'll introduce them here in just one moment. Okay. Thank you. Lisa's very proper. All right. So we do have Ben and Felicia here. Good, not only good friends of ours, but also family. So there was a time where both of you guys thought you had it all figured out, right? Like, give us some background. I'm going to start with.
Are you insinuating they don't have it all figured out now?
Well, okay. She's getting smart with me. We all came to that moment in our life where we thought, this is it. We're right where we want to be. Nothing will change, right? And then what happens, right? Somebody gets a bright idea. Hey, babe, what do you think of this? So, well, cool. So I'm going to start with Felicia. I want to get some feedback from you. Give me a little bit of your background, like first of all, work related, and then what spawned you into
your
education and your direction in life, your original view on life versus where you are right now.
So I always wanted to go to school. So that was like definitely my goal. I did want to like have some side businesses, and I have had my thought, do I want to just go and have my own business? And that's what I want to do. But I always came back to, I work in healthcare. I love working in healthcare. I've been in the industry for 15 years. So while I've been in the healthcare industry, I did my undergrad in business. And then that made me want to start a business more because it made me all curious, but I wanted it more of like as like a side thing for me. I didn't necessarily want to leave. But if something blew up, I probably would have, obviously, and would have ran with it. But when I was graduating, or I guess right after I graduated, was around the time Ben was trying to figure out what he was doing too. And we had Mia, she was probably 2, I would say. And we were working opposite shifts, so we like never saw each other. And I hated that. And I was like, that needs to change. So in my mind, I was like, let's start a business so he can work it. And then I'll get to do it too.
That's a big deal, right? Like many of us get caught up and you just think you're making the right, like this is good for us. We're going to make more money. And then pretty soon you look around, you're like, wait, where's my husband?
Yeah.
Like we don't spend any time together. Right. So
totally.
It's weird how that happens, right? You didn't plan that. Like, how can I get rid of Ben? Right.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's a good.
I don't know her, did she?
That's a good job for you, Ben. You should take it. Yeah. So you went from college to working in the workplace, which is what you went to school for. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So.
Well, yeah. And then I got promoted after my undergrad to a management position in plastic surgery at the University of Utah. And I really like my position. But I wanted to make a little bit more money, so I went and got my master's degree. Didn't know if I'd stay or not. It did work out, and I have been able to stay here. But during all of that, I guess I took a break while Ben was going to school. So I took like a year off and then was kind of just working at the U, but I always knew I wanted to go get my master's degree. It was just something that I felt like I needed to accomplish. That was my goal that I wanted to do. Yeah, that's probably where I'm at right now. I feel content. I like my work schedule, like work from home. I go in 1 day a week sometimes, but I kind of control my schedule. So it's nice, but I do miss the business sometimes.
So you still kind of have the freedom and the flexibility, the owning a business.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna tell my version of what I'm hearing from Felicia here is, and what I remember too. Okay, so this is why I like these guys' story is, and why I think we really wanted to bring it to everyone's attention is, it's entrepreneurship isn't like a perfect fit ever, and a lot of people start and fail and start and fail and start and fail in one way or another, or it doesn't take off, as Felicia said, right? If that business would have just took off, like what else are you gonna do, right? You're gonna shut the doors? No, you're not. But it didn't give you the reward you were looking for. And I've been there. I'm not on my first venture right now. I've taken many steps into different things. But you're back in the workforce now, right? And you
Yeah,
love it.
and I have been the whole time. I think one of my mistakes, though, that I can say that I made when we started the business was I wanted to do something on the side so bad. I was doing too many things at once. I was also making a website and for drop shipping, and then and I felt like I was doing a really good job. I was building it myself. I was figuring out how to drop ship, do all these things, watching YouTube videos. And then we started this one too on the side that Ben was doing, but then it became too much. I couldn't work, go to school, do this website, and help Ben at the business, the warehouse. So I kind of had to just drop that
That
one.
says a lot. But you know what? That's what I always saw in you. You were, like, listen, I can do this. I'm Felicia. I'm going to watch some videos. This is happening. And I think that really is a superpower of yours. You have to admit that, if you put your mind to it, you can get there, but we all stuck with this time thing, right? And this
Yep.
energy, right? To put things together. And you have Mia, and you're managing a relationship as well. So
I think what I want to hear, what our listeners probably want to hear is, so maybe Ben, you can tell us this. What was the business? What are we talking about here?
Bring us up to the speed. The business your wife wanted you to run on the side.
Well, first of all, it's one of those things. Starting a business is tough, and taking that leap into believing in it is a tough thing. And sometimes to trust yourself, it's really tough. No better person to trust than my wife. And when I was in school, and we kind of talked about, hey, if we opened the business while I was still working as an EMT security guard. First month, if we replace your income, would you be willing to do it? And I was like, oh yeah, of course. So we did it, and we did it pretty easily, which allowed me to have total confidence in the situation. But our business revolved around buying returns, damaged box goods at auction from stores like Amazon and Walmart. We had rented out a little storage. Well, I call it a little. It's like a little warehouse at a storage facility where we could fit about 18 pallets worth of goods. We wouldn't know what was on it necessarily. We'd just open it up and find the stuff and then sell it locally.
Surprise!
Locally on KSL and Facebook. And yeah, it was definitely a surprise. And that was the funnest part about the business that I really loved. Sometimes we'd find, I think we had like a $2,000 tub at one point that, that was fun to try to sell, right? But we literally would have no idea. And then we'd be just, selling these items. And it was fun. Some weeks we'd get amazing truckloads with really great stuff. Sometimes we'd get truckloads without good stuff. And, that's kind of the nature of the business.
So when you say great stuff, Ben, you mean like that unicorn that we blew up and floated across the lake that one day? And like 18 of us jump on this thing and the wind caught us and blew us across the lake. We almost got stranded out there.
Exactly.
Those kind of fun things, right?
Yeah.
You would have never bought that if it wasn't for that business. We wouldn't have had that experience.
Exactly. And after we could expect after summer was done, winter's approaching, we're going to get all of these, summer items. We got a lot of bikes come in, which was actually really good for, Christmas items, right? We'd hold onto those bikes for months and sell them for a good price. But yeah, that was the business that we did, and just continued to, we'd invest in the truckload. We'd make our money back from the truckload and then buy another truckload. And we kind of considered everything after that break-even point as what I would take home and just rinse and repeat,
Right. And it's like panning for gold, wasn't it, guys? Like 1 month, you're like, boom, we're killing it. Let's go to dinner. We're taking everybody out. And the next week, you're like, that pallet had toilet paper on it.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what was exciting, though. I remember one time we got this, like, the most random thing. Me and Ben opened it. We were like, what in the world is this? And we really had to go dig in.
You didn't even know what it was?
No, we were, like, taking pictures on Amazon. Like, you know how they have, like, the recognition thing, trying to figure out what this thing was.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Finally, we figure it out. It's like this tennis stringer, which by the way was like literally just for this one item, like $2,000. Like we could sell it on eBay for 2 grand. We were like, wasn't even on our manifest. So shows we didn't even pay for it. We're like, this is a bonus. Put it on eBay. We sold it
Right.
Should
within
you be
like
saying
hours.
that right now?
Yeah. We'll edit that part out.
I mean, I think that they just throw
I'm
stuff
sure
in
it
there.
happened.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's part of protocol, right? Yeah, so well, let's back up a little bit. Ben, you have a formal education as well. Like, I mean, I know you're a bright dude, but you dipped your nose in something pretty big too. You were in the is it project management for, let's see if I get this right. For like marketing digital products like games and things of that nature. Is that correct?
So I went to school and got my degree in games. So it was from the School of Engineering at the University of Utah. My main role was as a project manager. It's a producer in the video game world, um, and that producer role translates into project management. So my degree is in games, but I learned a little bit of everything on how to make games, which I hope one day I hope my career trajectory puts me back to. And I know that I have the power to create my own studio if I really wanted to, because I understand what it takes to make a video game.
Right.
I've transitioned over to a project manager role, an operations project management role at the University of Utah Hospital, where I work with revenue cycle on different projects, but overall, it's still the same job as far as ensuring a project moves forward. All the correct stakeholders are involved, and making sure the project gets from point A to point B within the different resources that whether it's time or individuals. There's a lot that goes into it, but it's the same mentality, ideology, whether that's in the hospital setting or a video game setting. But yeah, so I went to school for my games degree, got that undergraduate, and now I am going for my master's in business administration, the same program that Felicia is in.
Go Ben.
Yeah.
Cool. How do you?
What does that look like? Like, what is your goals or plans? Like, when do you think you might be able to dive back into your passions?
To dive back into that right now, I've got it pretty good. As far as where I'm at right now, a lot of the project managers that work with me, there's about 16 of them. A large majority have their masters already. And so what happens is they've already graduated with their masters in health administration or something else, and I don't have mine. So I have the benefit of having this job for 2 years, getting my master's degree. And then, a knock on education a lot of times is, okay, I got my degree and now the employer wants experience. Well, I'm getting the experience.
Right.
I'll have the experience and the master's degree at the same time. That's which will then translate over to anything that I really want. And so I'm not quite sure exactly where I'm going to go. I'm not someone who's going to, lock that down right now. And on LinkedIn, I keep my offers and options open. Sorry, say that one more time.
We want an answer. I want a business plan, a clear indication of where you're going. And Felicia's not in on this. Wink, wink.
My dad, he owns his own business. He's a firefighter for the Salt Lake Airport, and he has created a software that he sells to different airports across the nation. And he's approached me about helping him with his software. So that's a start as well. There's options. There's options for me, and that's what I really like about where I'm currently at. With getting that master's degree, with getting the experience that I'm at as a project manager, there's just, and my experience with games, it's exciting for me because I don't know what's coming up, but I have options, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. But I would love to work with video games, and because that's my passion, right? I enjoy that medium.
Could end up being a leap into entrepreneurship as well. Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So can I ask both of you this same question? What do you feel like you learned in college that played a role in you being successful with that last business? I'm saying you're successful with it because you did well, you launched it, you operated it, and you sold it. I don't care if you only broke even. That's a success in many eyes of entrepreneurs. So from your guys' perspective, whoever wants to go first, how do you feel like a formal education helped you in that?
I'll let Felicia answer that first.
I mean, I I feel like for me, because I did take a lot of business courses, that helped. Like I had background knowledge. But also Lisa was great if I had questions too, so that was really helpful. I don't
Um,
think that you necessarily have to get a degree for that. I mean, I was getting my degree because I wanted to climb the ladder in the healthcare field that I'm in. That was my goal. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it helps you. I don't know. Ben and I have talked about this a lot. It also just helps you come out of your shell. Like they put you in classes where you have to speak and work in groups and things like that, and it really just it helps you, yeah, I don't know, expand on who you are as a person, I
I
feel
could see
like.
that helping for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great take on
definitely.
it. Because well, being an entrepreneur is like that. You have no idea what's under that next rock, and you have to be able to adapt for sure. And you guys faced that. I think you're really brave that you guys went after it. And you did quite a bit of other things too as well. I know you played around with some stocks. You guys played a little bit on the GameStop thing. We don't have to get into it, but just know these guys know how to play around. Um,
Yes.
but so now you got your second baby on the way now,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
Okay. And Ben, you're thinking of breaking away, but Felicia, do you guys think like either one of you will ever double your income from today? Is that possible?
I got an offer and could have done it, but I chose not to because it doesn't
Really?
make sense in my life right now. Um,
Like at a different company or
yeah,
same?
I had my I actually had to turn my LinkedIn off because I was like, I can't look at these offers anymore because they're so tempting. But all of them are in person, and I just feel like my job is at a good place for me as a mom right now, working from home.
Mhm.
And so I was like, maybe like when my kids are, I don't know, a little older, like 10 or older, then maybe I'll go for like a director role or the job that I was approached with, it was like right under a CFO, so it would have been a really good job. It was hard to say no, but it doesn't fit right now. So I know those will be
Yeah.
there in the future though with my experience and my degree. So eventually, yeah, I think Ben has,
Right. But that's the goal, right?
yeah, eventually that's what I would do when my kids are older. I think with Ben not necessarily being, not that it has to be this way, but he's not the mom, he can go kind of do
So what
whatever
I'm
right
hearing
now.
though is that you would have to put in a lot more time and energy to double your income, right? That's a
Yeah.
reality. It won't get easier,
Yeah, well, and
right?
I couldn't have done that if I wouldn't have already had all the experience I had. Like I said, I've been in the healthcare
Right.
industry for 15 years with an MBA. But if you go
Right.
to get your master's and you don't have any experience, I mean, I have a lot of employees who do that and they can't get good paying jobs, and it's not worth it for them
Wow.
to pay their student loans. So,
You guys have made some smart moves,
that's
like the
where
way you've played the
I don't know,
cards,
I
and
guess.
I think that's certainly something I admire about you guys is you play the cards right. You're playing the game, you play by the rules, but you know how to jump through a few hoops and play just literally play the game right. And maybe that's all part of the strategy that you have. But I like the way you guys go about it, and I've seen you kind of make those decisions based on the strategic moves, right? And I think what I would like to highlight for you guys is you never wanted to be entrepreneurs. That was never the long term goal in the beginning. Then you did. You
Well, I think didn't you kind of always have wanted to, didn't you, Felicia?
on the
Yeah, on
side,
the
but you
side,
never.
or like if Ben told
Well,
me
because
that
like
he
you're
was
saying,
gonna,
like if something took off, right? You would ultimately rather do that. I mean, to
yeah,
some degree, right?
yeah, I've
Yeah.
just always, no offense to Ben because he's up there now with me, but I've always been the like the money holder in the
Breadwinner.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't just
Okay.
leave when we have kids and all these things. Which is why like, I was like, do it on the side and we'll just see. But if he approached me when he graduates and decided he wanted to start a video game company, I'd be all about it. So
Yeah.
So just venturing off like that, don't you think that gives you a lot of confidence, Ben, in your abilities? Like, so now when you do decide to break off, you're like, listen, might have just been a little business that we put together, but now, I think I can do it based on that. So there's a lot of value in that 1 or 2 years that you guys put into that business. Am I right?
Yeah, I think no matter what, whether the experiences that I've had and we've had as far as owning that business, that was one of the first big leaps. I think for me, going back to school was a big thing. Getting involved in the business was another thing. I'm interfacing with people. I'm gaining confidence in knowing that I can do it. I can,
Right.
one thing to mention here is we started the business and I also opted to do it because I wasn't working full time at that business and I replaced my income being
Motivating.
that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
How much time were you spending?
Yeah. Give us an idea.
I mean, it really depends on what how often I was there. I was probably there 6 to 7 hours a day. But I was really only posting about 15 items a day, and then I was like at work doing my schoolwork while I was there. So if we're being completely honest, it's like I probably only worked like 3 hours a day.
That's another one of them strategic moves that I was telling you about right there, right? Where you're
I was doing my schoolwork,
right?
and it was freeing up time for me to do, like, I wasn't being held accountable by somebody else. Like, as a security guard EMT, I was just at a gate, letting people, doing access control for people coming on site to the mine here in Utah, and it wasn't much work there either. But I had to be focused and paying attention for 8 hours of the day. When we started our business, I was able to just sit at my desk. I'd knock out my work real quick, the 3 hours of work, and then I'd hang out there because I had to be at the warehouse for people to come pick up their items and pay for their stuff. Right. So I was there for 6 or 7 hours, but I wasn't working, and I was doing other things, which it was freeing up time. And Felicia mentioned this about getting that job offer for more money, and it was in person. So my mindset right now is I work completely remotely right now. And if I had to drive into the University of Utah, that would take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day in commute time. I probably do 2 hours of homework for my master's program every single day. So if I'm driving to work, like, that commute is my time to do what I need to do to get done. So time is money. And even though we've had this conversation, even though a job offer is better and looks like a lot of money, is it really conducive to a healthy life? Are you happy? And some people would be like, oh, you're crazy to turn down a $40,000 raise. It's like, but that's not what it's about. What it's about is being happy and, having that freedom. And having two kids, what happens if we have to put them in childcare? I mean, childcare is so expensive as well. Is it really worth all that extra stress and headache of that new position? There's a lot of things to really take into consideration, right?
Yeah,
totally.
Well, I like the fact that you kind of did the business, and now you're not opposed to even a side business. I can see it in your eyes. I bet you eventually you're going to have another side hustle. Something will come up, and you two are going to launch it. But it gives you the confidence. Like, if you see something now, I can see you two just like, all right, we're going to do this, and then you'll just do it.
Yeah, I was delivering packages for Amazon as a side hustle not too long ago, and I was like, man, I was making probably $35 an hour per route. It was only a 2 or 3 hour route, but I was like, man, I was making that money because they give you a flat rate to deliver X amount of packages, and I would just be quick and efficient. And it's where other people might make $10 an hour if they do it really slowly.
Right.
And it's just one of those things where it depends on your work ethic. It depends on how hard you're willing to work. But I've proven to myself, and we've proven to ourselves, that we have that capability, to do it. If you want anything in life, you've got to put forth the work.
Yeah, you guys have definitely put the work in for sure. And I certainly wish you both an enormous success. And I'm really actually pretty much counting on it. Well, cool. So since the show is primarily about entrepreneurship, I apologize, we're not digging into all the nuts and bolts of your awesome careers, which I think are cool. Okay. But what I'd like to just, kind of for the takeaway is, what guidance would you give people if they were in a good career? Why wouldn't I start my own business? Or, what would be some reason that you should clearly consider, but maybe someone's not thinking about when because there's all this stuff online, including some of the stuff that we're promoting right now to becoming entrepreneurs, right? You guys know that's all we're always promoting it. In fact, I feel like we nudged you pretty hard off the fence, but the idea is like, you got to be careful, right? You can't just throw it all away for these pipe dreams, right? It is good, and it could be perfect for someone if it's what you want to do, right, Ben? But what kind of advice, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, would you give someone to consider if they were going to make that move?
If they were considering so taking a leap from taking a full-time position, like job, career, whatever.
Well, like, say you guys are in a good place. It's hard to give up good for great.
I think.
Am I right?
Yeah. I think
it's harder for you to take that leap than just Joe Schmo working for somebody else, like with an average job. Like, oh, that's an easy leap. It should be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is tough, but you guys, it's like, yeah, we could make 6 figures in that business, but like, we're kind of already there. And like, you know what I mean? So it gets harder and harder to like because the opportunity has to really present itself. And so what would you give advice to someone to be sure to be careful not to give up something good for something great, because you're not certain, there's no certainty, right? Because that's the fear.
I think if you jump into something, if you're invested in your career and everything, and to that movement back, it's got to be for something that you love. I talked about that with video games, right? If I open up a
I
studio,
love that. Yeah.
that's got to be what it is.
Great
I can't just
advice.
take a leap into something that, are we
Money
making a baby product that like may or may not make a lot of money? I'm not really heavily invested in the material there. Like, yeah, maybe I'd invest in it, but I wouldn't start my own business. But would I leave my current position and start my own game development studio? That would probably be the best bet, because I'm passionate about that. And
I love that, dude. That is so
Passion goes a
awesome.
long ways.
Absolutely.
What a beautiful statement, man. Great feedback. I think that's rock solid for sure, because it might not work, but then there's no regret. You get something out of it, right? It's not for nothing ever if you're following something you really care about, and you're willing to do a lot more, right? Because it means something to you. You're not going to just cave at the first challenge. Like, it's getting hard. Let's get out of here,
Well, and usually people who have worked their way up in a corporate structure have done so because they're qualified to do so. They've been through a lot. They've been able to problem solve. They've got the tools to start the business, right?
That's great advice too, right? People who might not think they have the confidence or the abilities to do it because they've never done it. Those play a big role, right? In like, you're doing more than you probably think you are. Solving problems being the big one, Ben. I think that's again really solid advice. Is like, look at your job. If you're solving problems for your company, that's business every day, all day long. So if you're thinking of doing that and it is something you're passionate about, and what you're doing currently is not something you're passionate about, take that leap, go for it. You're qualified.
Right.
So, Felicia, do you like that feedback?
Yeah, I think that the passion's important. I'd also say do research and have mentors, people in your corner. Talk to people, I don't know, who have like what you're doing here. You're giving people advice, or letting people hear about other people starting business. I think that's important. But if you're passionate about it, you're more willing to do the research, because there's going to be things you don't know. You're going to run in, like you said, you're going to run into problems, which is going to force you to problem solve and research how to solve those problems.
Cool. I like that. Get a mentor, right? Like, because one little roadblock is really discouraging, right? Even if it's the smallest thing. And if you can just reach out to someone real quick, hey, I just had a quick question, boom, roadblock, done. So, all right, well, we're gonna start wrapping this up, guys. It's been awesome hanging out with you, and we have to get together in person soon. So, thanks for sharing your stories, being candid, and giving people hopefully some strong advice there if they're in a career they want to jump from, starting a side hustle. So my takeaways today, and tell me if you guys resonate with this: start your side hustle, stick with your passion, right? Do your research, get a mentor, and make sure your wife's okay with it. Well, that's my advice. That's I always check with Lisa. Is that okay? In fact, right now I'm like making sure that we're on a good timeline right now. So, cool. Well, another episode of Fire Your Boss Down. You guys are a big part of it. Thank you for at least letting us sit in those seats and help guide you to that, you guys. It really was cool watching you guys tackle that. It was really exciting. I did a lot of follow-up. What's going on? What are you doing? And it was just exciting to see you guys do it. I'm also super happy to see you're at where you're at. And Ben, go get it, dude. It's coming.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah, I think so. And I want to say that we both appreciate you guys both. You guys have provided a lot of inspiration for us. You've provided a lot of mentorship for us as well. And I think a lot of times we just need to see someone else do it and understand. That's where a lot of understanding comes from. The big jump is making that decision, and you guys have been doing that for a long time, and it's been fun to watch you guys live the lives that you guys have, and the freedom that has brought. And it's been, yeah, like I said, really inspiring to us. So thanks for doing this.
Oh, man.
Well, thank you.
Oh, that's 2 episodes. I'm shedding a tear, Ben. It does make me happy for sure. I really just want the best for everyone. And I hate seeing people struggle, or like just not doing something that they like, and you can hear it in people. So anyway, Sweet, dude. Laying it down. Appreciate everything, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, sounds good.